In September 1666, London was one of the largest cities in Europe, home to around 350,000 people, packed into narrow, winding streets, living in timber-framed houses that leaned so close together, their upper floors nearly touched across the alleys below. And then, in the early hours of a Sunday morning, a spark in a bakery on Pudding Lane ignited an inferno that would consume the medieval city in just 3 days. It was around 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, September 2nd, 1666. Thomas Farriner, the king's own baker, was asleep above his shop on Pudding Lane when fire broke out downstairs. Farriner, his family, and a servant escaped through an upstairs window onto a neighboring roof. But a maidservant, too frightened to jump, became the fire's first victim. At first, nobody panicked. Fires were common in London. Neighbors gathered with leather buckets. Parish constables arrived. They did what they always did. They called for the Lord Mayor. Sir Thomas Bloodworth took one look at the flames and made a decision that would haunt his legacy forever. He refused to order the demolition of surrounding houses, the standard method of creating fire breaks. And then he reportedly uttered the most infamous understatement in London's history: "Pish! A woman might piss it out." He went back to bed. But this was no ordinary fire. The summer of 1666 had been brutally dry. London was in the grip of drought. The wooden buildings, many coated in flammable pitch, roofed with thatch, had baked for months in the sun. They were kindling, waiting for a match. And then there was the wind. A fierce easterly gale pushed the flames from house to house, street to street, faster than anyone could respond. By dawn on Sunday, 300 houses were already gone. The fire was racing downhill toward the riverfront, and the warehouses there were stocked with oil, tar, rope, and tallow. Fuel. Everywhere. By Monday, order had collapsed. The streets became rivers of terrified people, some fleeing with their belongings in carts, others burying valuables in their gardens, hoping to return. Samuel Pepys, a naval administrator who kept a detailed diary of the disaster, watched from the Tower of London and was horrified. Everybody endeavoring to remove their goods and flinging into the river or bringing them into lighters that lay off. Poor people staying in their houses as long as till the very fire touched them, and then running into boats or clambering from one pair of stairs by the waterside to another. Pepys rushed to Whitehall to warn King Charles II himself. The king listened and immediately ordered houses pulled down ahead of the flames. But it was too late. The fire had become a firestorm. By Tuesday, the inferno had reached its terrifying peak. It stretched nearly a mile wide, pushing from the Temple in the west to the Tower of London in the east. And then it came for the heart of the city. St. Paul's Cathedral, the medieval cathedral that had dominated London's skyline for 5 centuries, caught fire. The lead roof melted and poured down through the streets like a river of silver. The stones of the building exploded from the heat. John Evelyn, another diarist who witnessed the destruction, described it. The stones of St. Paul's flew like grenades, the lead melting down the streets in a stream, and the very pavements glowing with fiery redness, so as nor house nor man was able to tread on them. With conventional firefighting useless, King Charles II ordered a desperate measure: blow up entire rows of buildings with gunpowder to create fire breaks too wide for the flames to jump. The Tower of London garrison went to work. Explosions echoed through the burning city, and slowly something changed. By Tuesday night, the relentless east wind finally began to die. The fire breaks held. The flames, starved of fuel and wind, started to retreat. By Wednesday, September 5th, the Great Fire was essentially over. Though small fires flickered for days and the ground remained too hot to walk on, the battle had been won. When the smoke cleared, London barely existed anymore. 13,200 houses had burned. 87 parish churches were gone. The Royal Exchange, the Guildhall, St. Paul's Cathedral, all destroyed. 436 acres of the city, more than half of London within the old Roman walls, had been reduced to ash. Official records say only 6 people died. But historians now believe the true death toll was likely far higher. The intense heat would have incinerated bodies completely. The poor, trapped in burning tenements, would have left no trace. 70,000 Londoners, 1 in 5 residents of the city, were homeless. Out of the ashes, a new London emerged. King Charles II appointed the architect Christopher Wren to lead the reconstruction. New regulations required buildings to be made of brick and stone, not wood. Streets were widened, fire insurance companies were founded, and with them, the first organized fire brigades. Wren's masterpiece, the new St. Paul's Cathedral, took 35 years to complete. Its dome still defines London's skyline today, and near Pudding Lane, where it all began, a 202-foot monument was built between 1671 and 1677. It stands there still, a column of stone marking the spot where a city burned. The Great Fire of London destroyed a medieval city, but it also gave birth to a modern one, built to be safer, stronger, and more resilient. It's a reminder that catastrophe can be a catalyst, that out of destruction, something new can rise. And that maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't go back to bed when your city is on fire. The monument to the Great Fire of London can still be climbed today, 311 steps to the top.